Family. So this video is about psychological warfare, coming from a defeated place, being a black man. I'm a teacher. I have two sides to me. I have a military side, which is very solar, ruled by the sun, that's not compromising, and it's very violent and very assertive, right? But then the other half of me is I'm also a teacher that's very spiritual. And that side of me is very protective, loving, compromising. My military side is not compromising at all. My teacher and spiritual side is compromising to a degree. Because when I get upset and I start taking shots, I'm not taking shots at the people who watch my videos. I'm taking a shot at the people who taught you information that I find to be incorrect completely. No mathematical basis. And one thing you guys have to understand, this is a metaphysical channel, right? Primarily, this is a metaphysical channel. I fall into the category of passport bros, but my channel is primarily metaphysics. And I use metaphysics, my skills in metaphysics, to put on the special shades, to look at the world in truth. Because the warrior inside of me accepted the fact that white people destroyed black people, right? So in the matter of war, when you've been destroyed, you go back to the whiteboard. And like, say, for instance, if we had guns that were protecting us and we had military strategy, say it was a military battle that was going on between blacks and whites, and we lost, and then we end up becoming captive slaves and then programmed with Caucasian education for hundreds of years thereafter. Think about that, right? So say it was guns that were used to protect us. If I go back to the drawing board, I know that guns in our military strategy has to go in the trash because it didn't protect us, right? For whatever reason, God gave white people a special ability to defeat us no matter what it was that we had to offer or what it was that we built up. So that starts with our religions. That starts with our gods. That starts with our language. It starts with our way of life, our culture. It starts with our cleverness. You know, there's so many different things that you can look at the psyche and break down. But for me, I'm internal first. So I can't point the finger and be calling the kettle black. So everything I preach to is something I either done or I've mastered, right? So there's no such thing as me not being internally developed enough to be external. So first, I start with my family, right? My children are a reflection of me. I have great children, right? My siblings, not so much. I work with them, but I've outgrown them so much because they have too much ego to admit the truth. Two, the black pride, again, the ego gets in the way, and what they know and what they've built up based upon lies have made them feel some type of way. And, you know, they're heavily invested in systems that were based upon lies, right? So the brainwashing from the matrix is very deep in my siblings. And some of my siblings who the brainwashing is not deep are jealous in some instances because I'm the youngest of the family, but I'm the hardest working. And I've made the most sacrifices out of everybody in the family towards understanding exactly what's going on. So I don't need a story from someone else to tell me how we're being dominated. I know we're being dominated. And what I've done is I've paid attention to the people who've kicked our ass, not in a negative sense, in a warrior sense. So just like when a boxer get his ass whooped, he looks at the film and tape and he finds out the strengths of the opponent that beat his ass so he can have a rematch, right? And let the best man win. Because if my boxing trainer and my training at that point, if it was good enough, I would have never got my ass whooped. I would have won and the game would have gave me the victory. But for black people, the game gave us a big L, a huge L. And for black men, you know, Malcolm X followers and, you know, the black consciousness, Malcolm X knockoffs or whatever you want to call them, Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Hebrew Israelites, Nubians, you know, and you have all these different black separatist movement groups and shit that want to talk shit. Like, first, you have to understand the power of the person who defeated you. And so I've studied white men like very meticulously. And after I started seeing the strengths in the white man, namely his writing ability and his ability to control the word or the world. I mean, all of mankind with words and language. It's suited in his mentality to control and dominate the world like he's been doing for the last 500 years with words, right? Starts with words and language. So when black people say, oh, the white man stripped our language away. Okay, so he gave us a language, right? The only thing that's really missing outside of the English language, which are the spiritual, the holy words, which come from retroflex sounds, right? We have different types of sounds that words make. Retroflex sounds are the sounds that are always going to be closely related to spiritual deities and calling out the spiritual deities. English is missing that. It's not heavy enough in our language. We don't have a lot of retroflex sounds. That's done on purpose. There's over 600,000 words in our English language and very few retroflex sounding words that start with retroflex or have retroflex sounds in them, right? Straight dominance. So as a black person, every word that you've learned, you've had to open up a dictionary to understand the meaning and then live your life according to what you know. And what you know are words that came from a dictionary, right? That was created, the dictionary itself was created by lexicographers, white men, right? So every time you were in school, oh, I don't know this word, I don't know that word. What does that mean? What does that mean? You have to go to a dictionary and then find out what the word meant. So you're being programmed by the education system and then going out to the dictionary and then being further programmed by another savage ass white man, because white men created these dictionaries. They're called lexicographers, right? I don't have my AC on. I just got the fan on. It's hot out. So bear with me as I sweat. So as I noticed this about the white man, his most talented gift is mimicking. So that's when they made the white Jesus, they were mimicking Horus, right? That's a gift of white people. That's one of the special gifts given to them by the moon. Mimicking, the art of mimicking, pretending to be something else, right? So then I thought, damn, well, if the white man is dominating, his most powerful skill is documenting and writing and controlling the world of the masses with his words, what's his number one sold book? And then it came to me. It was the Bible. The Bible is the white man's number one sold book across the world. There's been more copies of the Bible printed and produced around the world. And they pushed that Bible initially, in Christianity was pushed initially with a lot of force and violence. People don't want to go down the history of Christianity, not blacks. You black Christians, you guys want to go down the history against whites. And now they fucked us up over the years through, Jim Crow and all these other tactics that they use, blockbusting, eminent domain. I can go down the list of all the tactics that they use to fuck us up. But mainly, it starts with words. And the words that control black people the most have been Christianity words. Remember, that was the only book that blacks were allowed to read while we were in captivity. The blacks that were at slave quarters that were owned by whites who were reading books outside of Christianity, right? You don't know of them. You don't know of them. There are more black churches than any damn thing. So that book, they really wanted us to be programmed by that language. So then it made me suspicious of the Bible itself, because the Bible was printed in the printing press by Europeans, and the government controlled that, right? So a part of a control tactic was the release of the Bible. And then what made me really suspicious of the Bible was the language of time, the concept of linear time, starting, beginning, and ending, did not exist during the time period in which they said the Bible was coming from. The years that they claimed the Bible was written and all those stories are coming about, they only had a cyclical or spherical cycle version of time, where time never starts, never ends. There is no beginning, there is no start, there is no ending. It just keeps going on, because the whole world at that time, during the Bible time, as they lie and they say it exists, at that time the whole world was on spherical thinking. Look around in the universe. The sun orbits in circles, right? Your body rotates blood in circles, like a cycle, right? You go to sleep, you wake up, there's a cycle. The sun, as he orbits, the movement of the sun can be broken down. There are different ways to even calculate the days and the hours within a day. We have different scientific methods to do that, right? But it's all cycles. So at that time period in which the Bible, and they claim those people in the Bible existed, they would have never even said things like in the beginning. So that made me very suspicious, because I know for a fact that term in the beginning, in the middle, in the ending didn't come about until Greek philosophers. I want to say it was Aristotle. I forget which Greek philosopher it was that came out with that. But he started that. So they went back. They did revisionists. They either remanufactured the Bible, like rewrote the shit, or they wrote it completely. Remember, that was the only book forced upon us to read during captivity. So it made me very suspicious. If my enemy destroys me and then gives me material to read, right? The only material he will allow me to read, there's an agenda behind it. And I have white friends who will even agree with me that the Bible was only used to control slaves and Southerners, especially down south in America. But see, these people, all these blacks across the world have given their soul to this fake Jesus, this fake God of the Bible, this fake Moses, and all these fake ass people that were written about throughout the Bible. And it all starts with the language. The language is a dead giveaway. Linear time is a white man's concept. Look at his architecture. There's nothing linear in the universe. That was how he was able to dominate the world. Those philosophers saw the world in linear time. Not in ancient time. Ancient time, everything was spherical. In Sanskrit, there is no such thing as a linear time. Everything is cyclical. It's lies. Then the number one sold book, again, the Bible, it's lies, it's programming, it's a curse. And then when you move beyond that and you say, damn, what else did the white man do on top of that? Dictionary, education. So the education, the Board of Education in America, they agreed to program us with more lies because they know we had to come to them to understand what those words meant. And God is the word. So if God is the word and the words were created by white men and they're controlling us, that means they're controlling us as God. They're controlling us through their words. See, that part is escaping black people. And you guys are in such deep denial, you don't want to admit the truth. We got defeated. We got our asses whooped. And then we got handled by words. See, I respect the white man because I'm not a bitch. I'm defeated. We've been defeated as blacks. As long as I'm speaking English, making my money with English and shit, man, me and white people now are inseparable. Americans and whites, blacks and whites in America, we're inseparable now. We are no different from each. We're all collected together and stuck together in this fucking world of shit, right? Just like the solar system is stuck together in the universe. All 7 planets have a relationship with each other. And the 2 bodies of Rahu and Ketu all have a relationship with each other. All have a relationship with Earth. So y'all think about that for a second. Please try and refute that. Again, if you can refute that, I'll shut my fucking mouth. But until then, I'm going to continue to teach. And again, the military side of me is still going to be fed. I got to keep him strong. And then the spiritual side of me that's compromising, loving, and willing to do whatever to teach my students, he's still going to be strong. So I'll be here for you either way.